Go. All right. So.
Yeah, so we were just saying that the tight end was probably the pick most of us would have made at 1-2. Not that any of us particularly thought the 1-2 pick was an awful pick. Questionable, depends on need and all that stuff. But I felt all the way down the board, guys were going. The guy that you were faced with was not a guy that you'd really want to be taking at that point. So the 1-2 guys were guys you'd probably want to be taking at 1-5.
Yeah,
and that theme carried on all the way down. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the lack of wide receivers is a bit of a thing too. So why don't we go on to do that? So the next one is Battle. So Battle to Arizona at 4.
Yeah.
And I guess Battle was the best receiver in this class. I'm just checking to see whether I thought there was anything else on my other screen. Not really. Battle was your pick, I guess. And, all right, will be good, but, not obviously a megastar, I guess.
No, that's what I thought. I mean, O'Hara went at 1-7 last year, and if you can do that, then you're happy, aren't you? I tried to move up for him. I didn't manage to get him, but as usual, Rob, was happy to pay a little more, and rightly so, in my opinion. I think he made the right move. I'd like to play it safe, normally do. But yeah, Battle's a good player. He's, if you could get him, down around 1-8, you're going to be happy. But the route run is a concern. I mean, I'm seeing around about 55. I think he's a good player, and I was very, very tempted. I did make Jeremy some offers, but Jeremy was being an arse. He just wouldn't have it.
Well, I think stick and pick there's a good idea, and I think
he started insulting him. I started giving him abuse, but he just dug his heels in. He just wasn't going to have it. So I was going to have to pay him about 2,500 points if I wanted Battle at 1-4. And even then, I wouldn't be surprised if he said no, just to piss me off.
Well done, Jeremy. Good effort.
He told Schefter he wasn't dealing with you no matter what.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's good. I think that's the right thing to do, don't you?
Yeah. The other thing I was going to mention here is if you go back past the last 10 drafts and probably further, at least one wide receiver has always got in the top 3. So did that elevate Battle up the board further than it should have done? Because every year a WR goes 1.1, 1.2, 1.3.
Well, I don't know what anyone else thinks. I think it's probably the 3rd most valuable asset on the board. So I'd take the quarterback Middleton first, the tight end second, and this guy 3rd, and then there's probably a gap for me.
Any concerns with that 1% developed?
Yes, but still.
Does that mean he's about 2.5 foot high and got a nappy on or a diaper?
Hello.
I've got. I mean,
Please speak all like this, hello, Bubby.
He is at least the youngest age you can be. If you're the youngest age you can be.
It's supposed to mean if you're down at that level, you're basically the minimum ability for an NFL player. So it doesn't mean that you're completely useless. It means you're essentially, he'll be, when he comes on the roster, he'll be the 7th wide receiver with just incredibly raw and a massive potential.
So he's like a Raider pick. Let's just trade get someone who's really fast and sod every other skill.
He's just got great upside. He's just incredibly raw. He might have even played a different position in college, that sort of guy, and maybe played running back in college or something, and he's just like incredibly raw. And it doesn't mean that he's any less likely to pan out. It just means it's going to take a bloody long time for him to get up there.
And he is very young, so that's if he was about 24.
You can give him snacks without him being a liability. So that's why it doesn't bother me, because you can play 4 wide receivers and just never throw him the ball, and he's still going to develop. Whereas if he was a lineman, he's going to be a liability while he's learning. So it doesn't actually bother me that much, the 1% thing. Not too
How long do you reckon it'd take him to fully develop then?
2.5 seasons? 3 seasons?
3 seasons, yeah.
That's a lot, isn't it?
So just in time to get paid.
Well, but this is the thing, you can pay a player like this, you can pay them before they're fully developed. And so they actually can be quite cheap in second contracts. So there's some value in there.
Yeah, that's true.
Jamie, my picks coming in now.
Oh, Joel's on the clock. By the way, while we've been talking, if I've seen the right thing on my screen, this is like WWF Royal Rumble. We've now been joined by Rob. Rob, you on?
Hola.
I am here.
What's going on, Rob?
How you guys doing?
Good, man. We've had a good. I don't know if Mikey's back on. We've got a group on, man. This is excellent. I'm having a good time. We're just going through the picks. We've got as far as the 4th pick in 45 minutes. This is going to be a long series of videos.
Rob, you look stoned, mate.
Especially with the extra commentary.
No, I'm not stoned.
You look stoned, buddy.
I'm not. These are my UK guys. It had nothing to do with. My wife looked at me like, "Are you working?" No, I'm good, guys.
Fair warning, I am. It's the oxycodone.
Well, we're live on television, Rob. Live TV.
Well, you could be assured that I am of sound mind. I just got off work, ran home.
We got some live drafting.
I just got a COVID-19 beard going, right?
Has anyone on this call had a haircut in the last 8 weeks?
Yeah, I just shaved my head the other day.
No, I'm having mine done on Saturday. And
charity thing.
Yeah, and so I'm 52, my mate's 54, and we're going for a grade 4 crop all over, and then bleach blonde.
Hey, is that Simon the Australian?
Yeah, quarterback.
What's up, Simon?
Good evening, sir. So, depending on how much of a prat I look, I might actually post a video on the Red Zone League. May.
Rob, you got KO, you got Simon to Cleveland, you got Nick, you got me, you got Job. I think you haven't got Mikey, but he was on for the first volume.
Jeez, these are all my favorite guys.
And then Zoom kicked us off, but whatever happens. Come on, let's keep going. Pick 5. So Nemesis got on and pick 5 as a safety, and he looked solid. One thing to know about Nemesis, when we were in the GML, I did a little survey because there's so many drafts in the GML. You do it off season every 2 weeks, so you get a high sample size. And I looked at the best drafters in the whole league over like a 20 season period or some long period of time, and it was Nemesis by quite a long way. So whenever Nemesis makes a draft pick, it's worth looking. And this guy, I mean, you can, I guess, have a discussion about positional value, but he looks good, right?
Yeah, I wasn't that taken with him actually. I mean, it's again when you're drafting a safety at 1.5, you're disappointed no matter how high he is. Personally,
I mean, it's back to the discussion we were having before we got into the picks as to whether a safety is worth the pick, whether or not it's worth the cap space. His age is quite high as well. All those development matches.
His endurance just doesn't look good for me. It's like, I suppose the average, the middle point's around 45.
45, actually.
Yeah,
I see higher. I mean, my scout these days is pretty good, but whatever.
Actually,
no, it isn't. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Not on defense. Sorry, not defense.
I mean, I see a lot lower than that.
Oh, okay. And your scout will be better.
I see like 35 to 60, maybe a little lower than that even. No, it's lower than that. I reckon. Yeah, probably average is 45. So I don't think I think this guy's endurance is going to drop.
I think Nem came on, didn't he? And he was like 2-3 minutes from being auto picked.
Yeah.
And I think he picked him, or he said he picked him really quickly.
Still think
he's all right.
Solid enough. I mean, I don't think
he's all right. But for 1.5, it's an absolute nightmare to be going home with a safety at 1.5, really.
Yeah, I mean,
he'll probably be like 75 or something, but don't know. I wouldn't be happy.
I think this is just evidence that the board wasn't very good, right? This is a good player, but it's not a fifth pick. Next one, Baltimore. So that's now the 6th pick, Roberson.
I did not like him at all.
You didn't like this guy?
I don't know. He just looks like one of those guys that's not actually as good as he is, and his whole recognition's low and elusiveness, and he's probably going to end up getting high 3.9 to 4 yards per carry over 4 or 5 seasons. But I'd rather just have a 55 rated guy who's got max hole recognition.
I just wonder if I had drafted him, and I wouldn't want to draft him this high, and he's probably too heavy, but I do wonder whether you can try transferring a player to receiver. You can't really do that anymore.
Really, but yeah. It's worth.
I'd rather have a 55 rated receiver than a 75 rated running back, but I know that's a sort of
That
minority.
Franz geezer was heavy, wasn't he? How much was he? He was 220 pounds, wasn't he?
Who?
Franz, that Rams
Oh
receiver.
yeah, no, he's heavy. Yeah, he was like 225 pounds or something like that. Yeah,
Pretty unusual for them to be that big, I guess. I'm just looking down.
222. So he could probably move, but how effective he's going to be is another question.
Yeah.
But how effective is he going to be as a running back? I think I'd probably be looking to shift him to receiver, but it's just a bit risky, isn't it?
I'd take an O-lineman before this guy, but I don't know what his line's like.
All
right.
Back at 1.14, he was 225 last year, and it broke his hip.
Yeah. Well, that guy you took then is on a par with this, which again I think is telling you more about the class than anything else, right? So that's that. And another running back went immediately afterwards, which is this guy, and again perfectly good. I actually quite like this guy. This is a problem. Would you take this guy before the?
I wouldn't take a running back first round, honestly. So
Yeah, no, but between the ones that went at 6 and at 7,
I would have taken the guard.
this guy's got a 0 static too, which is not what you want in a 7th pick in the draft, I guess. But look, needs must at this point. This was really difficult places to pick, I think, and they're really not easy at all.
I've got no problem at all. I think running backs are a little underrated by a lot of people. Well, it depends if you're going to run the ball. Of course, if you don't run the ball, you don't need them. But it's just things like avoid fumbles and that. You know, more often than not, if you've got a high-rated running back like these two guys, they're going to have sky-high avoid fumbles. So it's going to keep your turnover count down.
My guy only had 3 last year, though.
Sorry?
The 38 rated dude, I don't know. It's just
you're going to have dice rolls like with avoid interceptions, but you know you're going to. There are probably going to be some high avoid fumbles running backs out there that are low rated, like there are quarterbacks, but you just stand a better chance. You know, I don't know. I still like my running backs personally.
Then we come to. I certainly think that there's a place for them. I'm not sure if you have to be picking in the top 10 because you are picking naturally in the top 10. You haven't traded or something. Not sure it's the first port of call, but you know, each their own. I know, now we come to 1-8. This is the guy I would have picked in front of those running backs. This guard, Brico, or whatever, however you describe it. Look, it's not super exciting, but on my big board, which is just created by the computer, just reads the CFEs and just pumps out what it thinks. And it's just quite algorithmic. Had this guy as number 4 on the draft board. So it doesn't mean I did, but that's what the sort of calculation told you.
His run blocking on my screen. I actually interviewed this guy for some reason. God knows why. Probably because I thought he could drop to 110. And his run blocking doesn't look good. It's down. Well, I said it doesn't look good. It's down sort of about 65 to 75, and it drops off.
Yeah, at which point I guess you'd be less excited, right? And I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm definitely less excited. I mean, you know, run blocking for me is the most important part. You know, with a guard. I mean, and yeah, I don't know. It just didn't fill me with good vibes, really.
Yeah, look, I think I probably wouldn't have taken him. I would have been happy doing it. I'd be trying to trade out, but I can see why he's up this far on the board. And I actually think for Clown here, Green Bay, I like this pick. I think this is the solid pick.
Yeah, for what's on the board, but it's the same old story. I'd be wanting to take this guy around 115, really.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But again, the class isn't great. Next one, Indianapolis, 9th pick, a tackle called Anderson. Where did I have him on my big board? I had him as a bottom of the first round kind of guy. He's not got a lot of development for the age, which I always don't like. But he has got the high solid seismic score, so he's got, you know, the chances are he's going to have the high intelligence. He'll be a solid player, I would say.
Oh, he's a genius.
Yeah. So, you know, if you value that, and we were having a discussion, Rob, before came on about how much we should value that. Maybe that is getting it overvalued, but you know, it's there. I'd be a lot happier with this guy 20 picks further on in the draft than the 9th pick, but needs must, right?
Julio has convinced me that that the intelligence matters. I wasn't a believer for a long time, but between Julio and Nick and the conversations I had with those guys, I couldn't agree more.
It's just trying to work out exactly how much it matters. when you got a guy like Cooley with 39 intelligence, you know, the intelligence is outweighed. But you know, it matters, but you know, you got to factor all the variables in.
So this sort of says me, if you put that onto a 0-100 scale, which is something I like to do just to make it clearer for me to read, that's 95, right? So it's about as good as you get. But anyway, so that's Anderson again. Further evidence at this point really wasn't good value on the board at all. All these picks are 15 picks behind where they should be. We now come to the 10th pick, which is where this would have been you, Nick, and you'd have been in this boat, and it's not a good boat to be in.
No, it's not.
Slim traded into the pick with Shields, which we've already discussed. And
we can kind of pretty much review all these 4 wide receivers in one go, can't we? They're all crap.
Yeah.
Put your assessment. Crap.
All 4 of them. They're all somewhere between 40 and 50 overall, aren't they? Maybe 52.
Let's have a look. My calculation thing liked, in this order, let's go back to the thing. It liked the 4th pick, Battle, first by quite a long way. Then it liked Hampton, who went 13. Then it liked Berry, who went 26 to Julio.
Yeah.
Then it liked Greenberg, who went 12 to Denver. Then it liked someone who hasn't been picked yet. Did you pick, Joel? You picked all the wide receivers?
Yeah.
Did you pick a receiver?
I picked the tight end. I picked Bernard Perez.
Oh, okay.
Good pick.
I had him underrated, so I think he's going to pop to like high 50.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So
usually don't like my picks.
Am I? Hang on, let me just check them on the board. I could come on the board a minute. All right. So that was what. Anyway, that was what my thing liked. So let's open all of these. So.
Yeah, I mean, the guy who Julio took, I wasn't even that bothered. I wouldn't really be even looking at these guys in the first round, these receivers. I just,
I do think we are getting to the world where receivers may have become a bit overvalued, particularly with this move to the new version of the game, 8.3, the emergence of the tight end, in particular in the red zone, as being so important. And the idea that you can just have 3 receivers. I mean, I was firmly of the view for a long time that the second wide receiver on your roster was the most difference-making player you had. And if you had a much better second wide receiver than the next guy, that would help you win. It's changing. I'm not sure how much you never know, do you? But, it's probably the era of just get receivers at absolutely all costs may have changed. I mean, let's just do this quickly. Luxmore, he's got a decent static. The GD isn't ideal, but he'll be usable. Probably a wide receiver 2 is my guess. Probably. Any objection?
Rated. I don't know. It depends on where his route running ends up. If his route running's not over 50, then I don't think he's really usable. But if it is high end of what I see, around 60, then maybe wide receiver 3.
But I mean, for in fairness, for Slim, he needs a guy to go on the other side of the field from one of the best receivers in the league, right? So it's not like it's a crazy idea to pick up this player. This next one, Detroit, pick 11, high static, decent route running bar, and then there's not as much else as you'd like, particularly for the 11th pick in the draft.
Yeah, got him very overrated as well.
So not so excited there. This guy, Greenberg, there's low endurance here, which for a high first-round pick isn't really what you want. Middling, I'd say, my spreadsheet thing really likes this guy. So there's something in the bar shape that it likes.
Here's the issue of what I'm seeing with all of these guys right now, and it's becoming very, very clear, is I'm seeing what your scout sees compared to what my scout sees, and every single one of them you're seeing worse than what I see, which is a hard indicator that they're not very good.
Well, they're moderately good, right? I mean, they're just sort of all right. They're not necessarily top of the first round. And then we've got this guy, Hampton, who again is all right. I mean, my calculation thing thinks this is the second best receiver in the class. I don't know if it's not always right by any stretch. But
just looking at these guys back to back, they are a bunch of crap that could potentially turn into something. But on a quick glance, I agree with you, Nick. If I haven't, I have to be honest, I haven't spent as much time on this draft as on any of them lately, in any league outside of IOHF, which I totally missed the entire draft. I don't know about this now that I'm actually seeing these guys. I think they're all going to be bummed out on the reveal. I can't wait to see. What do you see him coming out as, Jamie? You said this is your second highest guy?
Yeah, low 50s. Low 50s.
Might be about right.
He's got really good development for the age, which is a plus.
He looks the best.
Something I think gets a bit overlooked sometimes. You know, and
I had him as overrated. I did scout him. I think it was overrated. Let me have a look. Yeah, just overrated.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And you do see him worse than I see him as well, which again is a hard indicator.
I mean, look, I think he'd be fine. I'm not sure he's going to be a sort of number one receiver, right? And
No chance.
It's just going to be fine.
He's someone I'd be happy getting if I managed to pick him low end of third, high end fourth. So.
Yeah, although not anymore in this league, right? Because I mean, you know,
no, still in this league, I think.
Receivers
I think there's still guys out there. Max has seemed to pick up some late guys really well. Some other guys managed to find sneaky wide receiver threes in the fourth round.
It's possible.
I guess it is possible.
This guy Rice is probably who I would have taken at 110 if I was forced to pick.
110. So let's go. So Rice. So he's gone to Jacksonville. So
yeah, I would convert him to defensive end.
Mikey's got like half the picks in every draft.
He's going to be a beast when he moves to the
defensive line.
I had him overrated. I did interview him. I had him overrated. Pass rush strength was max. Pass rush technique did drop. It was sort of between, let me see, sort of 80 and 90. But he looks a good player. He looks like that poop guy that I drafted.
Yeah.
But I still don't want it. I wouldn't want another one.
20 pounds on that guy. He'll be awesome.
I do think these are the sorts of players where you have to wonder whether it's the right thing from a cap point of view. Probably, but these guys can get super expensive, right?
Yeah, he will. Who else are you going to draft? That's the problem.
No, I completely. I mean, but that's the point. You kind of look at it and say, well, do I have this, or do I just go conservative and take whoever the best lineman on the board is, and just on the O-line and just go from there? But yeah, I mean, okay, so good player. Just a question of whether or not it's going to make a huge amount of difference. By the way, that's NFL realistic. By the way, I mean, would you rather have a load of good, amazing pass rushers, or would you like to have a decent coverage group, and just sort of live with whoever your pass rushers are? I mean, that's what a lot of good teams in the NFL do, right? But anyway, next one, Partridge, Tennessee. Bit of a lower end version of the last guy, right? I mean,
yeah, didn't really even look at him, to be honest.
Never did I. This is the first time I'm looking at him.
I'm trying to find him on my little calculated big board thing. I'm trying to find where he is.
He's all right.
He is there.
I think he'll probably be fairly dumb because his play diagnosis is high. And, his run defense isn't great. I see a little lower than your run defense. He's all right.
Yeah, 10 sacks this season. Again, it's the class, isn't it?
I've got a low first, high second kind of rating on him compared to where players like should go.
High first is where low first is normally where he's going to go.
Yeah.
Seems to me we got a lot of these pass rushing DEs in the league right now, so I wonder if that affects value because there's a bunch of them out there.
Yeah. We were talking about it before.
You can't. David Maxwell, 13.5 sacks. I did get a sniff trying to trade him. So
it's a nightmare. There's just too many of them.
So we were talking before you came on. We were saying that at the moment, when you look at compared to what's normal from the front office football engine in this league, we've got way more defensive tackle, defensive end players that are good and quite young, maybe 4 years old or whatever, 4 years of experience. But we've got considerably fewer young quarterbacks than normal. And so it's interesting. It's and there's a lot of quarterbacks aging out, right? So we could end up with real scarcity in a couple. And Rob's on, right? The people who've got Marincic, the guy at Philadelphia and the guy at Buffalo, who are the kind of elite young quarterbacks. I guess there's the guy at Dallas as well, arguably a tier below. Once they've got their cohesion, there's not much competition for those guys. The game hasn't developed put any people into the population that we can use, right? So in 4 or 5 years' time, Marincic will be even more dominant than he is now.
Oh, he's getting it. He's getting cohesion. He just doesn't have a line anymore.
All right, let's keep going.
There's nothing else around.
You took 2 linemen. We'll get there in a minute. Right, next one. So here we go. So Benton, so this is the safety. And was this I can't remember. Was this a trade to get here?
Yeah, it's a dumb panic move because I just heard Fat Cat say safety in the chat, and I thought he was going to take my guy, so I wasted 2 picks getting this guy. This guy's a cornerback conversion. I'm not leaving him at safety.
Yeah. Sorry, Kevin. I was trying to get Max to bite and take the pick.
What's that?
I was trying to get Max to bite and take the pick, my pick.
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't you. It was actually a Fat Cat said because he wanted Evans, and I just
Simon is Fat
I was going after my safety, so I wasted 2 draft picks moving up 2 spaces that I didn't have to wait. But yeah, I've got my eye on him for cornerback all the way. I'm not going to leave at safety.
I guess 1
I like him.
Yeah, my board, again, for what it's worth, calculations, they're not perfect, but they had this guy, the guy that did go to Cleveland at 18, and the guy went to Carolina at 29, pretty much in a bracket, and it was sort of take your pick between them.
Right.
But
I thought out of all 3 of those guys, because I needed the cornerback and not the safety, didn't like any of the cornerbacks, and this guy looked like the best one to move to cornerback out of those safeties.
Let's have a quick look at. Well, we'll get to the other one in a minute, but that's the and you know, I'd be happier picking this guy at 16 than picking the guy Nemesis took, even though it's arguably a better player at 5.
Really?
Like I'd just be happier from a roster. You know, I don't know what the difference in how much they're going to get paid is, but it'll be significant.
I reckon I would probably actually take this guy over Caldwell.
Yeah, so would I.
I'd certainly rather take him with the pick. You see what I mean?
And I never have I never have a quarterback, so I never have cap issues.
Well, you could have had a quarterback. I mean, come on. I was trying to sell them. Couldn't get fuck all for it. Moving on. So next one, tackle went to Denver at 17. This guy is called Harris. And I had this guy as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th or 9th on my board. It's not thrilling as a pick, but it's a solid pick to me. He's a very young player, right? He's the youngest age you can be, and his development of 17 in that context is actually pretty good. He'll be able to become a mega cohesion guy in the years to come because he starts so young, all being well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's pretty good.
If you've got a high sense rush QB, then this isn't super elite, but it's, nice building block. So I think with the 17th pick, that's actually for me, that's a par pick. That's probably we're starting to get a couple of picks which feel like
things are starting to come back now, aren't they?
Yeah.
This guy looks like a guard to me.
I think it depends on your scheme, doesn't it? If you want to run the ball hard, having tackles like that.
True. Yeah.
Oh, we've got into volume 3. Dean's going to throw us out again in 10 minutes, whatever. I'm happy to do this volume 3 if you guys are. Right, we're on pick 18. Next one, Evans, Cleveland. We've just talked about, I think, in the same breath as the pick at 16. I think the players are broadly comparable. And I think a good player. This guy I had actually a bit higher on my board, but again, reflecting of the class, I think, again, we're getting to par, aren't we? This probably is an 18th pick.
Yeah.
I didn't realize there was such a scrap to get the safeties, but it all worked out all right.
When I interviewed him, he said he was really good at picking off Manarich's passes.
Did you interview him, Simon?
One and done.
You still on, Rob?
At least, hey, yeah, I'm still here. At least he makes the playoffs, right? I can't complain.
All right, so the next one, Swift into Denver. So Denver had a few picks in this first round, and Swift on my board was more of a second round pick than a first round pick. I've got him as coming through low 50s, although I quite like the high zone on a safety, but
The endurance is going to hold them back.
Yeah, I think this is a second-round pick in my view, guys.
Tell you what, I actually see a lot higher than your endurance. I'm just looking at my screen. I'm seeing it straddles 50 completely. So it's like 50 is the middle point. Your middle point is what, 37 or something. So
yeah,
it could be that this guy's endurance is going to go up a bit.
I like this guy. This is the kind of free safety that I'd take any day.
But would you take with the 19th pick?
And I wouldn't take any DB in the first round, so no.
Yeah, I guess that's a broader point. I mean, one of the things that, again, it's quite NFL realistic. I really do think Jim has created a masterpiece in this game. There is an argument that the defensive backs and arguably the O-line, same idea, are sort of weak link systems, right? The most important thing is what's your weakest link and not what's your strongest link. And if that's true, then spending first-round picks on these guys, you're better off trading them down and getting a few second or third rounders or whatever. But
I think you see it enough on occasion where you get undrafted free agents, and Nick does it all the time, where he finds these 5th, 6th, 7th round DBs that are as good as the first round.
I'll tell you, the last 2 seasons I've had so much injury problem that I found street free agent defensive backs in like week 9, and they've been fine.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few of them in the league. All right, that's Swift. Moving on. So now here's Max. So this is the first of the picks he got from me for Sharp. I haven't sent him basically all the draft capital I'm ever going to have for Sharp. And it's a center who's good, probably looking for more elite run blocking on a center.
Yeah, definitely. It's a shame that it's not reversed, isn't it? You really would want the run blocking to be the max bar, not the pass blocking. But
I see I'm on the clock. Just 1 second. I'm going to go off screen and pick.
To be fair though, have you seen that Ted Morrell on my team, the guy that you drafted, Nick, was like 5th in run blocking last season, but he's only got a 59 run blocking. I don't know. Is it one of them where, like on the defensive front, stats might just get plucked out of the end? It's just random.
I don't know. I reckon probably, it's just a dice roll thing. I mean, probably just had a good year. I know
there are a lot of people who try to get max run blocking for their center on the basis that the center can go in either direction, right? It's not just left, it's not just right. It seems to affect both. And to that end, if this guy's big enough, maybe you look to see whether you can put him to guard or whatever. But he's good. He's perfectly sensible pick. I think he's about a par pick as well at 20. I'm happier having 1/5 of quarterback Sharp for this pick, but we're all different.
He was on my radar. It's just an alignment. It was on my radar. But if you'll see, like, that's really all I'm looking at in this draft.
Yeah. So Slim's on again because Slim's obviously got 15 picks in every single first round. And here he is with a linebacker. And this is not a linebacker conversion to defensive end, right? This is going to have to be a straight up linebacker. What do we think on this guy?
I liked him. He was on my list.
Yeah. Pretty good player. Very well developed. So he should step in and get some snaps straight away. I think that's another par pick really. It's the draft's starting to come back now, isn't it? It's starting to, you starting to feel a lot better about the picks.
Yeah, I think we're far on the basis that we're kind of. It's not a skill. It's not skill guys, but it's decent other players, right? Decent non-premium position guys. Next one,
those 4 wide receivers went. It kind of helps these guys out, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess that's right. Hansen now, who I liked. I definitely had as. I would rather have had probably my calculation anyway. Likes this guy more than the guy who went at 20 to Minnesota. Although there's not much in it. A lot of the reason being is 3 years younger, which is more valuable. Rob?
Yeah, I like this guy. Obviously, I liked him enough to take him, but exactly what you said was was my deciding factor. With him and the guy, I think, didn't Julio trade in right after for a guard, getting it mixed up? I like the guard he took as well, but I liked Hansen, a little bit better bar distribution, and definitely that age. Always, that's just the icing on the cake. in my opinion, if you could get a younger player. So I hate taking a lineman in the first round. I've done it in the past. I said that. I hate it. It just, even if you get a great player, you guys can't see me because I have my video off. Even if you get a great player, I'm waving my hands. It just sucks. It's not sexy. It's not fun. It's not, you're like, yeah, I got my shiny new guard. Who the hell cares, right? I want another wide receiver.
I care.
I noticed, Rob, you didn't.
Nothing
you
sexier than the fat boys.
I noticed, Rob, you didn't pick. You didn't trade O'Hara in this draft.
Yeah. You know what? I just had a couple different routes I was gonna, go with this. And when I traded the other veteran wide receivers, even though I had some really good offers, shockingly won by Nick. But
Name
no, in
drop.
all honesty, the more I looked at it, he is key to my future, I think, because Ben's are another year or two max. I'm going to keep him, but I want to keep that wide receiver pipeline flowing. So going back to what we just said, his age is why I kept him, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Would you have taken, I didn't offer it, but I could have done. Would you have taken what I sent for Sharp for that receiver?
Probably.
No.
Yeah, I would have. Maybe.
No,
I don't know.
wouldn't
Nick
have
gave
done.
me a damn good offer, but it was Nick.
I pretty much did offer that, didn't I?
That's what I just said. I said it was you. There's a Nick tax. You
Yeah, because it's me. I know the 110 was the main part. I offered you about 1-1 value, didn't I?
It was real close to 1-1 value. Definitely. It was fair. It was probably the best offer you've ever made me. I didn't even know you had it in you, to be honest with you.
That's because I wanted to get rid of 110 so badly. That's why.
110 wasn't worth 110, was it? That was the point.
I was shocked.
So Rob,
I was
would you
shocked
say
it kept
this is
coming
the
hard.
first time that Nick hasn't actually lowballed someone?
It may be. Maybe the first time. He came in with a low ball offer at first. Tell me how bad he was and how bad my cap was and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Just like you tried to. Fuck down my team. The whole world against me.
Hey, I helped you out.
You did, Joel.
I'm not going to start us on pick 23 because Zoom's going to throw us off in 60 seconds, right? So are you guys on for a volume 3? Whoever's listening to this or watching.
I'm going to pass on volume 3, guys. I got an early start, so I'll let you roll on with that one.
All right.
Okay.
Anything else?
Nick.
Anything else in the rest of them you want to say in the next 1 minute, Nick? Anything you like further on?
So. I think the more I look at Sweeney, I think, it's tough one to evaluate, really. I'm not 100% sure on him. Not bad. Might come out a little low, but 39 soul, got the sense rush bar. Didn't like the scrambling bar. Don't really want that on a low.
This could be worse, couldn't it? I mean,
it scared me off. I got very overrated on him, and the third down passing accuracy and timing all dropped down into that range from 50-ish. So that kind of scared me off him.
Yeah, I still like Wes's process here, though. If you need a quarterback, just pick him. Just keep doing it.
Yeah. Can't argue with that.
I mean, I don't know how much he needs one, but I haven't looked. But if he needs one, then you just got to. I'd rather have a failed quarterback than a successful